Coops, here we go. We've
made it.
Final podcast, I think. It's our final one. Unless I unaware it. Scotty, it's the last one? Yeah, it is the last one. Hey, off the top, I want to talk about the Panthers firstly. Let's talk about last weekend before we get into the grand final. Off the top, one of the best thought-out sequence plays that I've seen leading up to Penrith's first try. Starts off typical Nathan Cleary, under a little bit of pressure here, Penrith, and 40-20, third tackle. And you see when he works down here, he walks down and he turns around. He'll start communicating what he wants from this next set. Righto, this is what we're going to do. Now, I just love the way they play this out. So to take it up firstly, which will be Leota.
Yeah, it's a guy in full control of his team right there.
And you watch him here. They hit the far post area. A little play for the play to start with. Typical inside ball, Fisher-Harris. Then they lay the far post. Now watch Nathan here. This is crucial. He gets there and straight away he presents himself early. So Cronulla go, here we go. Let's get up on him. No, we're going to take one more. And it's wrong footed. They've got to get back on the line. And the next play, he's caught them on their heels.
Yeah, the movement for movement. He did the similar thing in the grand final, kicked that 40-20 that ignited the comeback. He's picking on lazy wingers to start with. So when Nathan Cleary wants to kick a 40-20, he's up in the front line as opposed to behind Isaiah. And then directing that set, I love the fact that Leota carry. It was it's like telling a lie with a sequence.
Absolutely.
And then made them come up, then go back. So there was multiple times where the edge defence of the Sharks thought that Nathan was going to shift. The time that they didn't have the energy or the line speed to get up. And it's picking on Nicho Hynes. He was under pressure, putting runners inside and outside, just made him make a decision, and he
exactly targeting there and actually also targeting Talakai's, his ability to have the gas in the tank to shut outside in, to shut the space, and he was slow to the punch.
I reckon that play will come again this weekend. Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that in a second because, I found it interesting after the game, the press conference with Ivan. I've got some thoughts about that. Firstly, the other one is we talk about the inside balls all the time, and a fella said to me, why doesn't Penrith just take the ball up, get forward? Just watch when Nathan handles the ball, when the ball hits Nathan's hands most times, the defence, they sort of sit on their heels and they freeze. In fact, the defence sort of flexes open a little bit because they're so aware of his threat, not just to run, but to push the ball to the edge. So a lot of times, it's just always an easy 10 metres for the middles. It's just a really simple, basic thing, but again, another thing that just takes pressure off his forwards.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in terms of what the Storm have to do, but they have to counter that.
Yeah.
They have to get the line speed and shut that down. When you're in a rhythm like Nathan, what you need to do is throw him completely off. He needs to have some of those runners not get advantage line, play the balls, so he feels like he has to go back to a normal one-off carry. Get Mitch Kenny more involved. But, it's the power of the Penrith system at play.
One more thing on Penrith. We're going to talk about this later, Coop. Watching the Penrith big guys, they've been playing a really hard style of football for about 5 years. A lot of big games. To me, they're just starting to look a little tired.
Don't poke the bear.
Yeah, I know. But there's certain things that I'm seeing that they do. But what's helping their cause is the amount of work the outside backs do. I mean, look at this is a typical set where they kick downfield. Dylan Edwards, well, he does the initial run, gets forward, he plays the football. Surprise, surprise, To'o on play 2. So he punches forward that extra 1 or 2 metres through the leg drive, play 3. Got Taruva then coming from the other side of the field to take the hit up. Now, okay, first time we've seen a forward, Isaiah Yeo take the ball up, a lightweight forward, then finish with Dylan Edwards again. Then let's get out of there. That's just alleviating so much pressure off Fisher-Harris and Leota.
It's conserving energy. It's been effective, and that's the Penrith system again at work. The outside backs, Alamotti didn't have a carry. He got that kick chase in. So when one works, the other one rests, conserves energy, and they complement each other all over the field. It's going to be a hell of a game, and to be able to stop Penrith from winning, Melbourne Storm are going to have to stop some of that. The other one we spoke about is Penrith turning the ball back inside, right? So they get a lot of momentum from that. They feel in the rhythm of their play. And this is them doing it on the weekend. See how Sharks are just a little bit disconnected on the inside when they lay off. Sometimes they get it good, sometimes they miss the beat. step up forward. This one, moving forward. I like that from the Sharks.
Yep.
That's what the Storm have to do. If they're passive like that one, it allows Nathan to generate momentum and play the ball speed. This one here, move forward, take the handbrake off. So
gotcha.
I think defensively, the middle forward line speed, once they do those drop-off plays, is a key for the Melbourne Storm. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Coops. And I think they, whilst I wouldn't go outside in aggressively, I think you need to squeeze in slightly. Because with Nathan, might be wrong, I'm just trying to think, I can't remember him going across an inside ball and going dummy under and throwing the long pass. Usually it's up, hits it underneath, or he's going to dummy, he goes dummy and shoot.
What I'm saying is, when we talk about line speed, we always talk about the edge defence getting up in front of the middle, and sometimes the middle filling behind in case of a line break. What I'm saying is, don't worry about filling behind. Go forward, particularly when Nathan runs across field. I almost would someone take the handbrake off and fire out a line. It's almost like outside in pressure, but from the inside defence, if that makes sense.
It does, Coops, because you look, and it's what we're talking about before, is that I thought that Cronulla paid too much respect for Nathan's ball playing. Like when he was doing the inside balls, like I said before, he caught and they went,
stop,
hold, and it's just easy meters. Where you're right, you just got to get on the front foot.
And the last one, and I think it worked for the Storm last time they played Penrith, they scored 2 tries off kicks. They must compete on every fifth play tackle. This is the one, kicking it straight here to Dylan Edwards. William Warbrick, some tall timber, gets through, and they must do this, the Melbourne Storm. If they're to win, I think they score a couple of tries off kicks. You've got To'o, Edwards and Taruva. Again, we always talk about it, not the tallest of outside backs, but here, bring To'o to the ball.
Gotcha.
Don't let him sit back on that 10-metre line. We always talk about kicking the ball near the try line. Watch this. Foot, leg speed, footsteps. Need to make Edwards and To'o and Taruva balk at those balls, because, as you showed before, they catch, they run, they get in their rhythm.
They do.
If anything, we always talk about trying to kick the ball as close to the try line as possible. I'm going to say bring that 10, 15 metres forward and make it a contest.
Push them back. Don't let them... And I'll tell you what, Coops, it's funny how one thing you can do in the game well triggers into other areas. So if you're doing that, and you're squashing their play 1 and you're squashing their play 2, suddenly the Penrith middles have got to start working harder. Suddenly then their middles start to become more vulnerable for when the Storm start peppering right through the middle of the field.
So 3 things I think Melbourne Storm sort of must do to win. On the flip side, well, the Panthers...
I just want to say, you wrote something else down that you want to talk about. This really interests me. You said the Penrith interchange. When there's an opportunity there, when Leota and Fisher-Harris get replaced, a window where Melbourne need to pick up the tempo.
So I think, Melbourne can't get caught behind off a fast start. I think they need to be equal with what Fisher-Harris and Leota do. For 20 minutes either side of half-time, when you see a chink in one of the best teams, I think it's their bench rotation. Melbourne Storm spine, score points, run the ball 20 minutes either half-time. I think when, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, whoever else they've got out there, that's the time for the Melbourne Storm to sort of go up a gear.
And it's interesting, on the weekend, the moment Jared went off, there was a big change in the contest. Like Melbourne started winning the yardage battle and the spine players started drilling through the middle.
So I think that's the period of time that they dominate. For Panthers, I think they've got to start when their big boppers are on. Like they've got this presence with already winning 3 in a row. This is the last ride, and they did it to the Roosters in week 1 of the finals. Just that pure power game. As we film this, we don't know about Nelson. If Nelson's not playing, this 100% has to happen. Just Leota, Fisher-Harris just bang down that front door and put the Melbourne Storm on the back foot.
It's funny, Coops, with the Roosters, with the Panthers, the back third of the season, and we've spoken about this a few times, is that they were almost too happy to get into the arm wrestle, and they started like they pride themselves on the kings of the arm wrestle and the grind, but they did too much of it. In this game, what I liked about this game was they started fast and they gave themselves an opportunity to blow the Roosters away.
So let's say red line at about 8 or 10, just trying to conserve energy for the long game. They just dialed it up to 9.5 and blew the Roosters away. I think that's what they need to do for the Melbourne Storm.
Let's say that, a couple of years ago, Melbourne beat Penrith in Penrith. And Penrith are on a big home run. Melbourne the first side for a long time to beat them at home. I know for a fact going into that game, Melbourne's thing were we want to get to an arm wrestle with them because then we can do a Penrith on Penrith.
Yeah, I think they're one of the few teams that can do it. Like normally I would consider kicking into touch and things like that to stop the back three, but I think Melbourne Storm can roll with Penrith in the long game.
Yeah,
I think they've got the same fitness levels, the same endurance levels, the same game style that holds up for long periods. And I think it's a big thing here because if they go 10, 12, 15 minutes of football in action, the first team that cracks, that's a mini win for the opposition.
How are they going to contain the creative team of Melbourne, those the spine players?
So as I said, I think this is where it's won and lost in this game. It put a hell of a lot of pressure on the edge back rowers in Garner and Martin. Martin will be up against Munster, Garner up against Hughes. If they have their best defensive performance in 5 years and shut down the running game of the spine of the Melbourne Storm, I think they win. Martin is an amazing back rower.
Yep.
I think he can cover Munster. I don't know if Garner can stop Hughes, but that's where it sits for me. Those two halves can't get up and go. And if they've got a line break in them early in the contest, like their running game in the finals has been elite, I think that is a good sign that Melbourne are getting on top. If they don't, it's a good sign that Penrith are getting the job done.